Welcome to Journey to Joy Live, a podcast to promote wellness, resilience, and inspire joy. Be empowered to balance your mental, physical, financial, aspirational, and social health while providing mental health awareness and breaking down the stigma of mental illness in the Black community. I'm your host, Dr. If Joy, and I'm here to help you transform life's challenges into opportunities for joy. Let's begin the journey together. Hello, we are back for another Thursday with episode 153. If your money isn't supporting your peace, it's misaligned. And I have an awesome special guest here, Ashley Varnado. She is a wealth management executive and author. Welcome.
Hey, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
And I am just glad to have you. I guess, this is year 3, as you can see, 153 episodes, been doing this weekly. So I guess I must be doing something right when people are starting to reach out to be on the podcast. So when your assistant reached out and said, she does wealth management, financial wellness, generational wellness, and all that, I was like, well, that is one of the 5 health areas that I keep talking about. Talk about the mental health, the physical health, financial health, social and aspirational health. And it sounds like you bring together that financial health piece with the purpose, the aspirational health. So that's really awesome. But tell us more about who you are and what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. So I am, in fact, a recovering corporate executive. I've been in the industry for about 20 years, most recently a wealth management executive. We represent less than 5% African American women, but African Americans in
Wow.
general, of wealth managers globally. And so I founded one of my life's purposes to make sure that some of the knowledge that I wish I had,
Yeah.
right, coming into the industry and making money, that I could share that with others, most certainly in our community. It really came down to, my friend, us just not having the background or education. I didn't even know what a trust was until I got into banking. And
Yeah.
so, it has been quite the journey. I have since gone on a radical sabbatical, which is
Hey.
something I know we'll get into all the
Mm-hmm.
details about later in the conversation. But I am in a stage in life where it's really about pouring into others. I spent the first half of my life really acquiring the titles and the assets and
Mm-hmm.
what I thought looked right on paper.
Mm-hmm.
And I had a medical event last year that certainly opened my eyes, where again I think about wealth not only financially but also the wealth of time. How are you living?
Yep.
How will you be able to reflect on your life when you're 85, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I think about wealth in different aspects now, and I talk about that a lot to so many people. And so
That's
it has
true.
been an interesting ride. A lot of fun things have happened
Yeah.
on this radical sabbatical, and again, I know we'll get into all the things, but yeah, that is me in a flash, girl. That's
Well,
me.
we can certainly get right into it. And just to hear you say the wealth, and there's different types, it makes me think of wellness. And there are certain brands that spell wealth, WELLTH, to
Yes.
show that, wellness is wealth. It's not just about what money you have or finances and things like that. But I want to read a little snippet, one little glimpse of your bio, because you have a very awesome bio, that's for sure.
Oh,
But in your
thank you.
bio, it read as after an incredible, successful first half, which you just started to allude to, she has stepped into what she calls a radical sabbatical, a purposeful pause designed to recharge, realign, and prepare for a stronger, more intentional second half. So let's talk about that, because I have been talking about the career reset early in this year. And, we talked about alignment, and sometimes we don't just keep going where we are. It's okay to stop and pause and figure out what's next. So how did you get to the point where I got to stop and pause, this is not going to work out, and figure out what your second half is going to be?
I will tell you, sis, it was scary. It was absolutely scary coming to that decision first, right, to set the stage. First generation corporate executive. We embody, and sometimes we embody too much, this concept of being our ancestors' wildest dreams. And
Mm-hmm.
so, very humble beginnings out of Mississippi, small town Mississippi,
Mm-hmm.
I was determined to, and I was obviously coached and encouraged to do something with my time and my life. I went to school to be a bank loan officer. That is the
Yes.
highest ranking African American woman that I saw in banking. I knew I wanted to do banking, but I hadn't seen
Mm.
a black woman
Mhm.
do anything other
Got
than
it.
be a loan officer in my small town.
Mhm.
But I went to college, got picked up for internships. My world blew up. I went to San Francisco for my very first internship. And then
Wow.
after that, it was off to the races. And so I certainly embodied this concept of working very hard in pursuit of all these things to make my ancestors proud, to make my
Yeah.
parents proud. Because again, what we saw is, and most of us have experienced, each generation, the goal was that you are better, right? You get
Mhm.
to do more and you set it up for the next generation.
Mhm.
Worked hard, but I wasn't paying attention to wellness at all.
Mhm.
Wellness came into play for me really 2024, 2025. I had acquired all the things. I had become the youngest female African American managing director
Wow.
at the firm. I worked my tail off. But my body was telling me to slow down. And it
Mhm.
started, sis, with headaches. It started with slight dizziness. I talk about it in my book, Out of the Yazoo
Burnout.
Clay. And I wouldn't pay attention to it because, again, we're taught that you are supposed to be strong. That comes with being a
Oh
woman,
my
especially as Black
gosh.
women. Our moms and
Exactly.
grandmothers are like, listen, you're supposed to ache. That's normal. That means you're getting old. That means you're doing it right. If you're aching, that means that's a part of your rite of passage. And since I just didn't take care of myself, and so those events led me to having strokes
Oh, wow.
3 strokes last October.
Mhm.
And I, again, knew all the signs, was very
Yeah,
familiar with the stroke symptoms, but I thought I was invincible. I thought that,
we
it was
all
nothing a little
do.
ginger ale and a cracker can't fix. Okay. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
A little
Get you
ginger
back
ale and a
going.
cracker can fix anything, according to grandma. Uh, but girl, it was serious. And so I
Yeah.
honestly, I'm so grateful I woke up. My arm was numb. I got up out of bed and decided I was
Mm.
going to try to shake it off. Girl, my entire left side went numb.
Mm.
Without going through too much detail, I was having strokes at the time. And I remember being in the hospital room and there not being any differentiation of anybody on the floor. Nobody on that hospital floor cared if I was a managing
Oh.
director, if I had a certain amount of money in the
Uh-huh.
bank. They didn't care. And I kept thinking, man, I've done everything right on paper, but the only thing I did not pay attention to was being present, actually living life,
Living
and
life.
actually taking the time
Mhm.
to understand the balance of time
Mhm. Mhm.
and pouring into others. And so I made the decision in the hospital room. I was like, I'm quitting. I was like, I'm going to
Yeah.
take advantage of this time.
Mhm.
I want to make sure that I'm intentional. I spent the first half getting titles for everybody else, getting money for everybody else. Whatever I do in this second half of my life, I want to make sure that one, it's something I want to do. I'm not doing it for
Mhm.
anybody else. It's something that
Mhm.
I actually want to do. And I want to make sure that I'm doing more than just being a phenomenal bank executive. I want to leave my mark. I want to make sure that
Yep.
long after I'm gone, I'm creating something that outlives me. And so,
Legacy.
yeah, I made the decision, and it's been one of the best decisions I think I've ever made. Not without its own challenges, but
Sure.
certainly I'm glad I did it. I'm glad I did it.
Everybody says that. I mean, and people are scared about like, "Oh, do I make this jump? How do I do it? How do I know?" And then everyone says, "It was the best decision I've ever made," when they made the jump. And I've had, certain jumps in my life that I've made and the best decision. It's usually the hardest decision, but it's the best decision. And, burnout is real, when you're not getting enough sleep and you're not focusing on yourself or prioritizing yourself. So it's usually those physical signs that get you down and out and saying, "Oh, there's something going on here."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't know the balance of time, sis. It was quite literally, I'll be
Mhm,
honest with you.
mhm.
I feel like they make clocks in hospitals a little bit louder than normal clocks because I kept the tick, the seconds, right? And it could have been the fact that I was already on such high alert, right? But
Mhm.
I felt like that clock was so loud, and sis, I kept feeling like my life is ticking away, and all I could show for
Interesting.
it
And you got the
is that
beeps of the machines too.
I'm like, well, dang, y'all counting me down, right? Y'all count me down to get out of here.
Wow.
And all
Wow.
I could think was, I've wasted so much time. I didn't get a chance to spend as much time as I wanted with my children. We would be doing carpool. I'm on calls. I'm trying to be everything to everybody at baseball games with my laptop out. And I'm like,
Yep.
man, if I were to leave this earth today, I would not be satisfied with how I spent my time. And so I attribute it to that clock that was in that hospital room. Shout out to Atrium Health Room
Loud
5316.
clocks.
That clock changed my entire life because I was like, I'm not wasting another second. Okay.
Yes, and it's interesting because it's so easy for us to keep in the same mundane role that we are in because it's wealth and it's making money for us. And I know we talked about this offline, but basically it sounded like you were making some really good money. So it's really hard, for us to stop because it's like, well, why would I leave this job? But I mean, that's inherent in the title. If your money isn't supporting your peace, it's misaligned. So how do we align our money so we can have peace?
Listen, I'm so glad you asked this question. So I am starting a movement
Mm,
called the Freedom Forward Fund. Here it
okay.
is. We save money, sis,
Mhm.
to buy houses. We save money for our
Yeah.
401ks. We save money
Yeah.
culturally to retire. We
Yeah.
believe in delayed gratification. You work 50 years, and
Yeah.
then by the time you're 65, 70, it's finally time for you to sit down.
Mm-mm.
And how many people do we know, honestly, that actually made it to retirement or made it to retirement without health issues, right? My mother in law passed away
Mm-mm.
pretty abruptly, was just one of the events in 2025,
Mm.
right before she was getting ready to retire.
No.
And
Oh
that
my
was an eye
gosh.
opener for me. So I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Why can't we use the money, whatever money we're making, right? You don't have to be at a certain stature, but just like we put money aside to get our hair done, just like we pay money for vacations, why
Mm-hmm.
aren't we putting money aside for these intentional pauses? Who says we can't?
Mm.
We do everything else we want to do. If there's a concert like Essence Festival is coming up, everybody has been
Exactly.
saving money all year long. I'm a
Exactly.
Creole girl, so listen, Mardi Gras people save money all year long to throw out plastic toys off a float. Why can't
Exactly.
you put that same 5, 10, $15 that you put to the side to say, I'm pouring into myself so that I can, in good health, in my
Yeah.
right mind, without having to be forced out of a situation abruptly? Why can't I plan to rest? That's the one thing our
Mhm.
ancestors didn't get to do. They didn't get to rest, girl.
Budget for rest. Because I talk about budgeting for joy and budgeting for rest is part of that. And vacations feel great. We love it. But we usually always talk about needing a vacation for the vacation because vacation is so
Okay.
tiring. My last vacation for 2 weeks, people were asking me, "Oh, are you taking tomorrow off the day after I got back?" I was like, I've been gone for 2 weeks. I can't take tomorrow off. I worked all three of my jobs when I got back. I was exhausted.
I get
So it's
it.
like budgeting for the actual rest, blocking it so you can just sit and do nothing. That
Yeah. It's a radical concept. It's been challenged, right? Because you have folks who take the gap years right after college,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
If you're fortunate enough, I didn't get a gap year. My mom and dad were like, "You going to
Mm-mm.
work, okay?"
Mm-mm.
Because
No.
that's what we're taught to do. You go to work. You
Yeah,
go to school so you
exactly.
can go to work.
Yeah.
But we have to stop this notion that we have to wait until the end of our lives to rest. I don't
Mm-mm.
believe that that's true. I feel like the way that you can make your money align to you is
Yeah.
by pouring into your passion, right? Making
Uh-huh.
sure you can maintain your lifestyle and your necessities, but making sure that you are also aligning money for the things that are important to you. And for me, that priority
Mm-hmm.
was resting. Now, I'm saying all of this is I
Mm-hmm.
had no money saved for this radical sabbatical. I
Yeah.
did not, I had this happen to emergency funds. I'll be very transparent
Hey,
in
but you
what
had
I'm
the
going to
emergency
say.
funds. That was an emergency at the point. Yeah.
Right. That was an emergency, but I keep
Mm-hmm.
imagining if I had just saved 10% of some of the bonuses or had put stuff to the
Mm.
side, then it would not have been what are we going to do? So that's why I'm
Yeah.
encouraging young professionals alike, women alike, men alike. Listen, you should be pouring into yourself more than just getting your hair done and your nails done and going on a 2 week vacation that you have to recover from. You need to be putting
Exactly.
money to the side so that if you decide tomorrow,
Yeah.
right, have a strategy in place. But if you decide that, listen, I need to recalibrate, I don't know if I want to do corporate or if I want to go sell oranges on a beach, right?
Mm-hmm,
Somewhere.
mm-hmm.
You have the choice without the pressure of money to do that. And so I'm going to be talking about that probably in my next book. I'm going to call it Halftime. The things that I wish people
Oh,
had told me
wow.
before I talked about, before I did this
Oh,
radical
wow.
sabbatical, because I would have had this laid out had I just
Oh, I
had the
love
notion to put
that.
money aside.
Heck, you need a quarter time, halftime, the next quarter. I was thinking about the three times where I've had like a 3 month. And so between medical, no, not medical school, between fellowship training, or it could be residency, depending on the doctor if you didn't do fellowship training, but whatever, between training and that first job, that's usually the only time that a doctor can have 3 months off because it's like they're in between. So they decide to start their job 3 months after. So that was one time where I had some time off. And then, of course, the other two were maternity leave, but it wasn't really off because we all know
Girl,
the
we
caring
weren't
for a
sleeping on
baby.
maternity leave. We don't sleep.
Exactly. I did get a glimmer of like, oh, because I wasn't working mentally. So I did get a glimmer of like, oh, this kind of feels restful. Unlike other than the fact that I wasn't rest because of the dealing with the baby. But yeah, outside of that, no, I've not made a plan to take 3 months off. That would be nice though.
Listen, girl, let's come up with a plan. Listen, I've done it and I've
Exactly.
made all the mistakes, right? So, listen, that's going to be a huge part of what this Freedom Forward Fund is about. It's how do you leverage the wealth management solutions to get you to that goal? I married this notion of my background in wealth management. What are the tools, again, at every level, despite your income or earning? And then again, my own experience about how do you really set yourself up to be able to do something like this. So, sis, it sounds like we need to come up with a plan. I got you. So you won't have to make the mistakes I
Exactly.
made.
Exactly. So we really need to be strategic and
Yeah.
planning and budgeting and aligning our money for obviously the important stuff, the emergency fund, like you said, paying off our basic bills and all that. But all that aside, making sure we have money for rest and money for
Yes.
joy. And hearing you say, like, people wait, that makes me think about. So I mentioned my last trip. We were in Greece. It was a 9-day cruise. Oh, so beautiful, the best trip
And it
ever. But
was.
like, we were like the most there were no other black people basically, like it
Yep.
was mostly older white people, older, right? So
Oh,
then they're looking at us like, look at y'all young, what y'all doing here, how do y'all get here, y'all must be famous, y'all must have a lot of money. No, it's because we aligned our money to be able to do that. And so we
yeah.
were just like looking at them, and God bless them that they're able to do it now.
Yeah.
But it was difficult to see them
I
walk, climb
know.
mountains, and all
I
the
know.
things. And I'm like, why wait until retirement when you can barely do it? But do it
Seriously.
now when you're
Do it now.
healthy and young.
You get it. You get it. That's exactly it. I have no intention of waiting to experience life at the end of my life. I'm just not, because we don't know when the end is. Let's just talk about the elephant in the room. I came very close to
You
what I thought was
don't.
going to be my
Oh my
end. And my
gosh.
regret was that I didn't do enough of the stuff that I wanted to do. I did what everybody else said
Hmm.
looked good on paper. And what
Hmm.
good is your money if you can't enjoy it? Like, what?
Hmm.
Obviously keeping your responsibilities, but by the time you reach 65 and 70, and shout out to the 65 and 70-year-olds, 75-year-olds, my parents are some of them who are still making attempts, just like some of the people you met on the cruise, making attempts to live their life. But why do we have to wait that long? Who made up that rule? Who said that that was the right thing to do? We got to change how we think culturally. So yes, I have no intention of waiting until I'm 80 to spend my money. I am going to enjoy life, even the simple pleasures of life,
Yeah.
while I'm in good health.
Yeah. And so let's talk about the obvious. Most of my audience are black people, and we know that a lot of us are set up at a disadvantage. So maybe we don't have the fortune of having $100,000 gift or donation from our dad or something like that to start us off. But we start off with this generational trauma, this generational, what's the lack of generational poverty. I think that's the opposite of wealth, right?
Yeah.
So for someone starting out like that, I mean, how do we jump into, oh, I'm saving for my alignment?
Yeah. It's funny you asked me that because I was one of those people. I was one of those people. I may have shared with you, I didn't really know a lot about wealth management in
Yeah, right.
practice until I was pulled into rooms that of very wealthy people.
Mm-hmm.
And what I will tell you is that it doesn't matter where you start.
Yeah, good.
I know culturally we feel like you have to have some big slush of income, or you have to have some level of an inheritance. We are dealing with our ancestors, our parents, our
Yeah.
grandparents, who literally only understood survival,
Mm-hmm.
right? And survival for them meant different things, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for my parents and for my grandparents, it was you get a good job, you maintain good credit, you pay your bills on time. So whenever you want to go back and borrow, you have good credit. So the bank will give you whatever you need. When
Mm-hmm.
in reality, that is a debt mindset. That is not a
Yeah,
wealth mindset.
that's what Dave
Um,
Ramsey says. Yeah.
yes, like who lending money and borrowing money?
Yeah.
We want to create spaces where you don't have to,
Right.
right? And so it was when I learned what a trust fund was. I remember coming into corporate and I remember thinking, how are these people paying for these lavish weddings? Like coming out of college like me, and they're buying houses already. And here I am trying to figure out student loans. It was
Mm-hmm.
because they have benefited, most certainly to your point,
Yeah.
of generations of knowledge that we just didn't have access to. But now that we do,
Generational
now that
knowledge.
we do, it is
Yeah.
about connecting. And again, I don't want to give any financial advice here, but certainly it's about connecting to an advisor that you trust,
Mm-hmm.
and really making the products work for you. What does that mean? One
Exactly.
example, sis, is a donor advised fund. I didn't even know what a donor advised
I
fund
don't
was
either.
until I got into it. You know how we give. We're very
Uh-huh.
philanthropic people, right? It
Uh-huh.
comes from our ancestry in West Africa. Like we really, we give. We
That's
give to the
good.
church. We give to our
Mm-hmm.
sororities. We get like we
Mm-hmm.
give money for the
Mm.
sake of community.
Yeah.
In doing so, sometimes we just write the check or we just give the cash.
Yeah.
Where a donor advised fund allows you to put money at the beginning of the year
Mm-hmm.
to the side. You can always put money into your donor advised fund. It grows interest. And then when you're ready to give that money away, you simply grant it out of this fund. You get a
Mm-hmm.
tax benefit when you do that, right? So,
Oh,
and
man,
there
you be
are,
taking notes.
listen, there are organizations who have minimums, but like Fidelity, free commercial for Fidelity, you can start a donor advised fund for $1. So if you go and you know you're going to
Mm.
give a certain gift to your alma mater, or if you know that you're going to give a gift to your sorority or to any
Mhm.
nonprofit that you love that is five up, deemed eligible 501c3 according to Uncle Sam, then you don't need to be just writing money aimlessly. It
Yeah,
helps you
count.
organize your money in such a way you're growing your money, you're
Mhm.
growing your gift, and you get a tax write off in a year. I never knew that until I got into it. And I was like, this is how
Wow.
they've been giving these big checks for years on top of years. They have their money growing and they
Wow.
pay it out multi-year. So it's really, in my mind,
Wow.
it's about the knowledge. We just
The
don't have access
knowledge, we
to
don't
it.
know
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, and then we gotta be careful of where we're learning from because, people are out here faking like they the experts charging you $10,000 a month, and it's like, "Oh, wait, nope, you're not the real person to
Listen,
listen
they need to
to."
be bona fide, okay?
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
bona fide. And there is a really great group of advisors that I connect with across different banks, industries, but these are African American advisors who
Ooh.
understand the plight, understand that we're starting from a deficit relative to knowledge, and they are very, very intentional about making sure that they're spreading this knowledge. And so I say, just tap into, and if you don't know, reach out to me. I'll point you to somebody good. But I would say tap into the knowledge as much as you possibly can. And again, there are solutions despite your income level. Fidelity is known for it. You don't have to have, to open an account at Fidelity,
Mm.
you don't have to have $25,000. You don't have to have $10,000. They'll open your accounts up for $1. They have
Mm.
several products just like that where they will open up your accounts
Wow.
for $1. For $1. So I
Wow.
would say tap into the knowledge as much as you possibly can.
Mhm. I was gonna wait and ask this when we finish, but somebody else might have the same question because I know I I need to get it together. But like, so financial advisors, are there financial advisors that also do the tax planning and tax strategy? Because I know when it comes time at the end of the year, it's like, oh, end of the tax year, it's like, oh man, we should have did this, this, and that. So it's like, where are the tax planners to help you in June come April? And is that this?
Oh,
Do people do the financial advising plus the tax strategy?
they do. They
Okay.
do. Usually, in most corporations, you have a separate team for that, but it's all a part of your wealth strategy. We call them wealth strategists.
There it is.
And so they will help you from a tax perspective. And then most products will certainly include, hey, listen, we'll take care of your taxes too. Now, they are still going to advise you to get a CPA and they'll point you to a CPA. But typically, you'll have financial advisors that help you understand how to grow your wealth. And then you
Yeah.
have wealth strategists that will help you understand how to maintain and retain your wealth, including some of the tax strategies that you can take into account
Yeah, it kind of sets
to
you
make
up for
sure.
success year round so that there's no surprises like, oh, you should have did this, turn your LLC to an escort, stuff like that.
It's a lot of knowledge out there, and it's for the taking. It's free knowledge. And in this age of social media, this age where you can
Mhm.
pick up your phone and have access to all the things, there is no reason why you would not be able to adopt some of those strategies. And again, I do not want to sound Pollyannish because I know all of us are coming from different walks
Yeah,
of life. You're talking to somebody who grew up in the Mississippi Delta, right? So I understand having to grow from very humble beginnings, but
yeah,
it is
we're very humble.
possible, y'all. It is absolutely possible with the right strategies and the right team and the right discipline. Because that's one thing we never talk about. We want to save to go to Essence Festival, but we don't want to put money up. Like you're gonna have to sacrifice.
Well, you said we didn't have to worry about delayed gratification, Ashley. So
You should be able to do
that's why we have
both.
different accounts. Do both.
Do
Exactly.
both. Do
Yeah.
both. You
And
can
I mean,
enjoy life and save.
there
You could
it
do
is.
both.
And I agree with you. Yeah, we all come from different backgrounds and different disadvantages. I kind of think of it as like some people come with a big hole that they have to fill first, and then they can develop their wealth. And then some people, there's no hole; they can just start the wealth. And I know I've felt like that because, well, I guess I created my own hole. Maybe I didn't start with because I had a large $400,000 in school debts, including the medical school debt. So they're just kind of filling that hole, and then there, other kinds of debts because you don't have the knowledge. They throw you a free T-shirt in college so that you can get a credit card. Now you're using that credit card, so then now you have credit card debt. So
Yes.
yeah, so then you try to fill that debt and all, and but just having the knowledge, being aware, getting the education, you can get out of that and then build your wealth.
I've seen people do it. I've seen people do it time and time again. It is truly about having the discipline and certainly making sure that this is something that you want to do and then tapping into the right
Discipline.
knowledge. It's possible. It's absolutely possible
Yeah.
to do.
Yeah, discipline for sure. And it's just breaking that generational curse because people like to drive while staring in the rearview mirror, in their life. They're just like, oh, the past did this. Oh, but this is what my disadvantage was. My mom did this, my dad didn't do that. And that's just not gonna help you. You're gonna crash. You're staring in the rearview mirror the whole time while you're driving. You gotta look at the future
Listen,
and stop that curse.
you got to look ahead. You got to
Mm-hmm.
look ahead. You have an opportunity to be a curse breaker. You can
There it
literally
is.
change the trajectory of the generations that come after you. I talk about my great grandmother a lot. In my book, she was on a sharecropping plantation. Think about
Mm-hmm.
it as the Mississippi Delta in the 1930s and 40s. She made the decision that she wanted to do something different. So she scrapped cotton, sis, to buy land on the Yazoo Clay, which is one of the
Wow.
reasons I named the book
Yeah.
that. And she decided she wanted to be an entrepreneur. So she opened up a lounge called the Hot Spot. And it
Wow.
was certainly a place where African Americans who didn't have a lot of places to go and be free and or have joy right outside of the
Mm-mm-mm.
church,
Yeah.
and she created that place for them. And so I say that to say our family house, not my parents house, but our family house is still on that land. She was a
Mm.
generational game changer. She changed by
Wow.
making that action. She changed the trajectory of our family's history. Now, she didn't get a chance to go to college. She passed away before age 50. but that one action. So I say that to say we always look for our ancestors to
Legacy.
be the game changers when it really is our turn. We are setting the stage for our children and our grandchildren and our nieces and
Yeah.
nephews, etc. And so we have to own that responsibility. We can't keep reading about history. We got to create the history. So no, you cannot look in the rearview mirror and look at your deficit
Yeah.
as a means of a handicap. Absolutely own it. I will say absolutely acknowledge it, but it should not be where you end. You cannot let that final ending be in a place of pain. Take that pain
For
and
sure.
transmit it into something that your generations to come will be proud of.
Yeah, so we got to get out of the past. I mean, use the past as, some type of glimpse of self-awareness, but
Yeah.
how do we get out of, because we have to focus on the now too, free and dead and joy and all that. But then you mentioned legacy. So we also have to have a future mindset. But there are some people that might have a restricted mindset of like, I don't care about my kids. How do we get people to care about legacy?
That's hard for me because I've not run across a lot of people
Just say that.
um,
People don't say that.
who have that mindset. But I
That's
will tell
good.
you, it comes down to something my grandfather used to say: "What will people write about you?" He used to make us read encyclopedias. Girl, I will never forget it. He and my mom saved money to buy encyclopedia sets. You'll remember that was a thing back in the day. Like if you had an encyclopedia set in your house, you were doing something, right?
Uh-huh, that's true.
Um, and so they were like, okay, this encyclopedia set ain't gonna go to waste. So my mom, my dad, and my granddad would force us to read interesting facts. Look, go read these encyclopedias. Tell me about somebody important and what they did. And so we will report out on all these things. I
Oh,
guess you can always
wow.
say we've been an academic household. But the main question that will come out of that, he was like, well, I can't wait to read about you. I can't wait to see what they're going
Yes.
to write about you. And that's the question
Yes.
that I pose to people who may have that mindset.
Oh,
What will people write about you? Will they say
yeah.
that you got it out of the mud for yourself? Will they say that you did this thing in our very finite time on earth only for yourself? Or will your legacy be that you built the path for so many others? So, for people who think that way, I will say, what do you want people to write about you? Somebody's going to write
Mhm.
about you.
I
You
love
want
it.
to have your mark in history. What will they write about you?
Yeah, that reminds me, I think it was Macklemore, but there was a rapper who said, "You die twice. First when you get in the grave, and then second when the last person when somebody says your name for the last time, something like that." Obviously, the way he said it rhymed. But anyway, Michael Jackson never gonna die in that case. We are always saying his name.
Girl, we
But
still. Let me tell you, my 7-year-old is around here talking about Michael Jackson, and he's
so
singing
cute.
Billie Jean, and I'm thinking you weren't even alive before this man transitioned, so he
Exactly,
will
my
always live,
3-year-old.
right?
Exactly. So thinking of legacy and thinking of something like that, like how do you want people to remember you and to keep saying your name and why? Why are they saying it? Because some negative? No, you don't want that. Because there's that too. There's
There
some
is
names
that
out there
too.
that
That
you
was
don't
one of the
want
things I
there.
was like, I don't want people driving away from my services and saying all these sweet things during my service, but then on the ride home from the cemetery talking about what they really think. I really want to make sure that what I did, what I touched, how people experience me,
Yeah.
left a positive, lasting
Hmm.
impact. And so, to your point, there is always the alternative. I did not want that to happen.
Exactly. Now, for those listening who feel like they're financially overwhelmed and they're emotionally exhausted, I mean, where can they begin in all this?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I would say it's hard work, right?
Mhm, mhm.
There is the acknowledgement that none of this happens overnight. You're not going to
Yeah.
transition from one place or mindset to the other in a week, right? Uh, it's about making the decision. Where do they begin? Making the decision that I want better. I want to feel better about my financial health. I want to feel better about my legacy. And
Mhm.
it's taking the first step in saying, who can I connect with?
Yeah.
Who may be doing it well today. It doesn't have to be a financial advisor, but if you have people in your life, or if you see people who seem to have it figured out or have acquired a certain level of success, connect with those people. I am a lifetime student. I will always sit at the feet of people who have already done
Yeah.
what it is that I'm aspiring to do. And you have to be even careful with that because you have a lot of people who have acquired wealth or have acquired success and are debt free, but they aren't really happy people. So I look for people who are happy,
Mm.
who are satisfied, and with the balance of that, they've acquired a certain level of success. And I lean into those
Mhm.
people. And then, like I mentioned before, it's really about, again, making the decision and connecting to advisors, uh, qualified advisors, bona fide advisors. Okay. Don't just connect to these fly by night Instagram
Yeah.
advisors who say they can make you rich in 3 months. That's just not reality.
Boy.
Okay. That is not reality.
For
Shout out to the
20,000 a
people.
month.
Listen, that's not reality. And it's sad that people are being taken advantage of. But you can connect to advisors and share with them your goals. You don't have to be at a certain level of wealth to talk to a wealth advisor. We got to break up that notion
That's
that
good.
I have to have 10 or 15 or $20,000 or $50,000 or higher to qualify.
Yeah,
Some
but
banks
not.
are like that, but there are so many solutions out there where, again, people will help you grow, right? And they'll put you in the right solutions. I also think about ways to even dip your toe in the pond of wealth management. Shout out to Merrill Edge, right?
Mhm.
It's no fee, not a real fee, but you get an opportunity to take your money and put it in a money market account, right? And really allow yourself to get used to seeing the ebbs and flows of what
Mhm.
our market is even doing today. I'm not even sure if you saw the market today,
Heck
but
yeah.
that said, there are ways to 100% get out of it, even if you're overwhelmed. I've been there, but you have an opportunity to make the difference. It starts with a decision. So make the decision,
Make the
connect to the right
decision.
people, and jump in. Take the leap. What is it going to hurt for you to take the leap into what will be a better future for you and for your legacy?
Oh, that's fabulous. Make the decision, connect to the right people, and jump in. That's it.
Jump.
That's it. Just do it. But
Just
you
do it.
mentioned your book. I don't want to leave without talking about your book, Out of the Yazoo Clay, and it's about to be published. Am I allowed to say that?
Yes, girl, I'm so
Yeah.
excited. Oh my gosh, girl, it's been such a labor of love. Out of the Yazoo Clay is a homage to a love letter, really, to my ancestors. It is important because I'm from a small town called Yazoo City, Mississippi. There is a clay in Yazoo City, Mississippi that is terrible for soil. It is not fertile at all. When it rains, it swells. When it's dry, it cracks. So
Mm.
don't ever try to build a house on Yazoo clay. But the notion is that
Mm.
out of that clay, something wonderful can still emerge. The
Mm.
dreams of our ancestors, my ancestors in particular, who didn't, I'm only 4 generations from slavery, who didn't have a chance to go to college, who didn't have a chance to do all these amazing things, led them to pouring generation after generation into a first generation corporate executive and youngest African American female managing director at the time. It
Mhm.
explores that, but it also explores this notion of us allowing ourselves to rest. Sometimes being the first in our families comes with a certain level of pressure. And we don't realize
Yeah.
that we are absorbing that pressure, but we don't
Mhm.
want to disappoint anybody. And sometimes we stay in places that no longer fit us because we want to make our ancestors
Mm.
proud. So it takes a
Yeah.
turn in the sense that you are allowed to, yes, make your ancestors proud, do all of the things, get all the accolades, but again, the one thing they didn't get to do is rest. And
Mhm.
so, how do you fill your cup in such a way, recognize when it's time to pause and be intentional with your life, and then making sure that you set up your next half, your next 20, 30, 50 years in a
Right.
way that you could be proud of. So, it started as a love letter and it ended with allowing yourself to continue to become, to continue to pivot. Who says
Ooh,
just because
can't
you start one
wait.
way that you have to do 50 years in that industry? Girl, I'm doing news media now. I'm doing a whole bunch of stuff.
Hey,
And
there
so
is making your rounds
that's right. The one thing our ancestors didn't get a chance to do is they didn't get a chance to pivot. They had to work those jobs
and keep
sometimes
going.
into their graves, where now we have the freedom to be lifelong learners. So what a beautiful way to pay homage by honoring yourself, honoring your passions, and allowing yourself to still become and evolve. And so, yes, it will
It's
be
okay to
out. It's on
pivot.
pre-sale on my website right now. It'll be out on
Okay.
July the 1st, and I'm so excited to share
It's coming up.
this act of love with the world. I hope the world loves it just as much as I do.
Yes, that's out of the Yazoo Clay. It's on theashleyexchange.com. And you can also be found at the Ashley Exchange on Instagram and other social media platforms. So that is out of the Yazoo Clay. Your first book?
My first book, girl, it came out of this radical sabbatical. I said, I got to tell this story and I need to tell
That's
it
why you need a radical
quickly.
sabbatical. That's why you need to rest. And that's the underlying theme of all this. Like, how do we align our money? How do we make our money align with our peace? And when what we really want is you rest. You need to
It's,
rest. Do a
it's all
mental
rest.
inventory.
Yes. Allowing yourself to rest. I would find pleasure covering by buying luxury bags. I thought if I go on this, one more vacation, if I go to
Ah,
Italy, if I do this, if I do this
Italy.
spa date, I know, girl, we got to go.
I get my
Speaking
bags
of,
from Italy.
oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. But listen, it was about me covering. It was about me covering. And none of those things brought me joy when really my
Masking.
body was telling me, girl, sit down somewhere.
Sit
And so
down.
your money needs to align to whatever brings you peace. It's not in the bags, it's not in the designer, all the things. It's not in driving the fancy cars because I know a lot of people who have those things and have no peace. You got to do what brings you peace, whatever that is and however you define it.
Even if it's having enough money to be able to take a week off and do nothing, because if you
Yes.
don't have PTO, I can't go because I'm not getting paid. Well, put your PTO into the account for when you want to take that time off.
Start small, 3 days, a week, and do what you want to do. You don't have to take a year off like I've taken. It's only been
That's
about
nice.
7 or 8 months, right?
That's nice.
But I will tell you, start small. Put that money to the side. Listen, skip. Look, we got outside food at home. We got we got we got outside food at home. You don't have to eat out. Put that money to the side and be intentional with your peace. Be
Learn how to
intentional
cook.
with your money,
Yeah.
and make sure that you are taking care of yourself above all things. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, this is awesome. This is definitely all about financial health and financial wellness. I really appreciate you, Ashley. I wish we could keep talking,
I
but
know.
yeah, I think we've got so many nuggets from tonight's episode. Really appreciate you, Ashley.
Thank you so much for having me. I cannot wait to hang out. I'm coming to see you soon,
Hey,
so be looking for me.
yes. All right, sure will. All right, bye-bye. This has been an Enjoy Life production. If you're in a crisis, don't hesitate. Call, text, or chat 988 for immediate support. Please note, this podcast is for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional treatment. If you're looking for therapy or medication management through Enjoy Life, visit www.drenjoylife.com to request a consultation. I'm licensed in 13 states. I accept Aetna in Georgia, Florida, and Virginia. Be sure to grab your copy of the Enjoy Note to help you on your wellness journey. Also, check out Inspire Joy for the wife, mom, boss to help you balance it all without losing yourself. Better yet, get the full Joy bundle for just $45. Remember, Journey to Joy Live is every Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you for joining me, and until next time, may you continue to transform stress into joy.